All right, we'll open it up. Questions for Coach?
First question, Coach, will be from Sherrod Blakely.
Hey, Coach. Well, first off, how are you feeling health-wise and just in a more broad sense? Talk about just your approach to your first training camp as an NBA head coach.
Well, for your first question, I'm feeling as normal as I can, I guess. As you guys have heard, I've been asymptomatic for the most part, other than maybe a slight headache 10 or so days ago that I probably would have brushed off if I hadn't been informed that I had been in close contact with somebody that tested positive. So to your question, I'm feeling regular, hoping to get back obviously tomorrow, but in general, it's been a little bit of a whirlwind summer, being gone a lot, obviously to the Olympics for a while, and then this happening within the last 10 or so days. And so, really relied on the staff and our previous relationship to hit the ground running. They know who I am. I know who they are. And, that familiarity between us has made it a lot smoother of a transition. But, reached out to the guys individually one-on-one and let them know the situation, and looking forward to starting tomorrow. I think it'll be a seamless transition. Been around the guys quite a bit even before this happened, so was in the gym kind of implementing things little by little with our coaching staff. Went on a coach's retreat over a month ago, and so we already have our basics down.
Zoom question first from Bobby Manning, Coach.
Hey, Ime. I know Jalen talked recently in an interview about, how the team interacts through social media, hearing the noise on the outside. And, even when it comes to communicating with each other, I know that's a big deal for you. Have you given them advice in your time so far, just in terms of, communicating with each other, interacting with the noise on the outside and just things like that?
Well, I'm not a social media person. I'm pretty much direct with calling, texting, FaceTime, Zoom, whatever it may be. So for me, I don't really interact that way. But as far as the players, it's commonplace nowadays. You just make them aware of things that are being said, and then also let them know that everything isn't for everybody. And so to not have certain things on social media is a benefit to the team. But in general, they've been schooled on that quite a bit lately. I think this generation in general is very savvy as far as that. And the social media is something that I'm not a part of, so I don't see and hear all of that, but it is what they do nowadays. And so I'm kind of old school when it comes to that.
Next question from John Corrales.
Ime, I know obviously you're just starting to get into training camp. You haven't figured out who your starting lineup is going to be, but what is your primary goal when you finally settle on a starting lineup? What are you hoping to get out of that? And how does that impact who you bring off the bench?
I would say balance overall. We have a lot of different directions we can go in, a lot of versatility within our lineups and the players that we've added. So you look at both starting as well as the bench coming in and the balance you want to have there. Like I said, we can play big, small, faster, slower. We have a big team overall in general, and it depends on who we start at the 4 spot for the most part. And we can downsize or we can go big there. And so we're going to look at all those options through training camp. We've tinkered with a lot of lineups, and also, like I said, bringing in great veterans. Some of the guys we have, Dennis and Josh, and it kind of gives us obviously more depth off the bench, but we also want to see our young guys take steps in growth. And so we'll tinker with some of those different lineups in the preseason as well as in training camp and see what best fits us. But overall balance, so we do have some punch coming off the bench.
Hi, Ime. I'm wondering, when did the guys kind of start filtering in? Were you guys able to get some work done in the facility before you went out? And then also, how would you describe, being a first-time head coach, what your style is and what we can expect to see from you?
Well, the guys started filtering in probably right after Labor Day, little by little. Guys have obligations in the summer, so some guys were in and out. But I think just in general, the additions that we have, as well as the guys coming back, we show great leadership from those guys coming and being around. And then just getting to know each other. Like I said, we've added quite a few new pieces, some familiar faces coming back in the building. So it was good to have those guys in there playing, getting to know each other, and we kind of let it be their gym. And obviously in the off season, that get a chance to get in shape, gain familiarity with each other and start to get rounded out for training camp. Me in general, coaching wise, I'm a very, very big on unselfishness, team aspect, whether it's offense or defense. And that's what I've been preaching to the guys from day one is start to become a better team overall. And that goes to both sides of the ball. In general, be better teammates, starting to enjoy playing with the guys. And as a staff, we want to start to, get to build these relationships with our guys. And a big aspect of the guys I hired with the staff is relatability and relationship building. And I think we've already seen that taking shape this summer.
Jared Weiss.
You coached Al when he was in Philadelphia, was playing a lot of the four. What do you think worked well and didn't work well in that? And how do you think it could be different in Boston, where he's probably playing at the four next to more rim rolling centers rather than the post up center?
Well, we had obviously another big lineup in Philadelphia. He worked well off of Joel. He's obviously a cerebral player that can pass the ball, shoot the ball, do some things on the perimeter, and also take advantage of mismatches. Most teams, especially when they're playing downsize, only have one big out there. So for the most part, they would usually be on Joel. What didn't work well is us putting him in the best position, I would say, in Philadelphia to take advantage of some of the mismatches he had. But we're looking at, like I said, different things with Al. He's so versatile. And he kind of got back to who he was even in Oklahoma City last year to some extent in the games he played there. He was rejuvenated, but he's looked great in the gym. He's in tremendous shape and obviously is very motivated to come back and show who he is.
Gary Washburn.
Hey, Ime, you got a chance to watch the Celtics in Brooklyn 9 times last year. What kind of notes did you take about obviously you don't think, okay, I could coach this team next year, but what kind of mental notes and maybe even physical notes did you take about the team that you could use into this experience when you watch them play so close up?
Yeah, in general, and take it back to the year in Philadelphia, it's been back-to-back years that I've played against Boston in the playoffs, Philadelphia, and then Brooklyn last year, let alone in the regular season and probably in preseason a few times as well. So seen them close up, obviously, in playoff series, take it back a step further, even in the USA games with those guys. So I've got to know them personally, but you see their strengths, things you as a coach, you're always looking at what these guys do great and areas they can grow and improve in. And so just in general, like I said, more unselfish play with the guys. The movement and great actions that Brad had these guys in, as I was scouting the team, I said, we're going to have to at some point guard one-on-one because it would always come back to one-on-one. And it was, like I've mentioned in the past, some your turn, my turn. So if we halted the initial action, we knew we had to guard one-on-one. And so we want to get a little bit, not take away guys' strengths, because we do have some tremendous scorers. If, Jalen scoring 25 a game and Jason scoring 27, that's not something you want to take away from these guys, obviously, but to help them become better playmakers and know that guys are relying on them to get shots. So if they can balance that a little bit more, get guys involved as well as pick their spots, it's only to the benefit of our group.
Final couple questions, Coach. First from Adam Himmelsbach.
Hey, Ime, I'm sure you saw Ennis said in a story over the weekend that you guys have several players who aren't vaccinated yet. Are you kind of preparing for the possibility that guys will have to sit out some games on the road this year? Or are you confident or hopeful that it kind of won't come to that?
We always hope that it doesn't. Guys have been informed and educated pretty vigorously on all of the vaccination benefits. And then it's a personal choice that guys have to make on their own. We'd love to have, close to 100% if possible, and obviously avoid some certain situations. But like I said, guys have to make a choice at the end of the day. And, I think the society in general, let alone sports in the NBA, is you can see people are dealing with this across the board. And whether it's football, baseball, guys are, you have to pivot and be ready to adjust on the fly. And I think the last year and a half have prepared myself as well as the rest of the NBA for this. And so in general, they've been educated. It's a choice they have to make. And then, there are repercussions if you're not vaccinated. So we all know that it's an individual choice, but the closer we can get to 100%, the better for our team, knowing that it's going to be something that people have to deal with throughout the year.
Final question, Coach, is from John Corrales.
Obviously, there's a lot of competition for spots. You brought in a bunch of veterans, but you also have a bunch of young players who have gotten some opportunities here and maybe really fighting to get back to that level. How much do you anticipate using the G League to get these guys some of the minutes that they might have been used to or some more repetitions?
The G League is to me is paramount to our success. You know, I came from an organization that might have been one of the best at using the G League in San Antonio. You go across the board and look at guys as far back as Corey Joseph and Kyle Anderson, DeJounte Murray, Derek White. We really would block out a certain amount of time for those guys to go down there and get actual practice and game reps. And so if that's not happening, obviously with us in Boston, you obviously want to get them on the court, and there's no more realistic way to get the practice and game reps and actually being out there playing. So it's a big, huge benefit. We've already touched base with Jarrell and the staff, and they'll be with us through training camp. And it's something that we'll definitely look at implementing. But at the same time, we're also relying on some of those young guys that you've mentioned to actually take a step up and grow with us and hopefully help us out this year. So you've seen the success they had in summer league, and those guys have all played well. And now it's a chance for them to come to training camp and make a mark as well.
We'll wrap it up right there. Thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you, guys.